So this spring scale is kind of nice, but you don't have to make something that fancy. It doesn't take a trip to the hardware store. Let's see if we can make a simpler version. I just found a little piece of scrap wood in my garage. This one's kind of cut up at the end, but that's okay. And I took a push pin and hammered it into the end of the board. And I'm going to fit over the push pin my spring. So now it's held in place. And I need to be able to hang things from the bottom of my spring. So I'm just going to take a paper clip and open it up like that. So now I have a hook there. Now I need to calibrate my spring scale. So I've got my 18 quarters, that's 1 Newton. 18 quarters weighs 1 Newton. Pretty close anyway. And I'm going to hang that. And now I can put a little mark. I have to pick, what am I going to mark? I think I'll put a mark right at the base of the spring. And now I'll put another 18 quarters into my baggie. So now I have 2 newtons of weight. And I'll hang that. And I'll put a little mark at the same place. This is going to be at the bottom of my spring. And I'll keep going until I have all 4 newtons of weight calibrated on my scale. So your piece of wood has to be long enough so that when the spring is stretched all the way out, you've got enough room to mark it for each time. But this works perfectly well, and you can use this. You don't have to get fancy with the PVC tubes. So I've got all of the quarters in the bag. It should be 4 newtons. I think that's pretty close. Okay. Now another way to do the calibration is with a little container with some water in it. So I set up I have a nice scale here that's pretty accurate, and I can put this on there and pour water in until I get 100 grams. 100 grams is almost 1 Newton of force required to hold that up, the weight of 1 Newton. So now I can take this and hang it on my spring. And it should be at the 1 Newton mark. Then I can put it back on the scale, add a little bit more water until I have 200 grams in there, and that should give me about 2 newtons of force, and I can mark that. So that's another way of calibrating your scale. Now, if you don't have a spring handy, springs are nice because the spacing between these marks, between 1 and 2, and the spacing between 2 and 3, and the spacing between 3 and 4, should be the same. That's called a linear relationship, and springs have a linear relationship with force. If you don't have a spring handy, you can use a rubber band like this. So I have a little scrap piece of wood I found on the floor of my garage. I hammered my push pin in there, and I hung a paper clip, and so when it's 0 is right about there, I put a mark. Then I hung my 1 Newton baggie of quarters, and I put a mark right there, and then it went 2 newtons, and then 3 newtons, and then 4 newtons, so I put marks there. And with a rubber band, those marks are usually not the same distance apart. The distance changes. So as long as you're looking right at the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, it works fine. But if you're in between, it's hard to tell exactly what the measurement is because the distance between those is not the same.